When I look back in 2023, the good things, the bad things, and the ugly, I see that the things that were bad were not really that bad. And the things that were ugly were part of my growth. And the things that were good for me were needed. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Resilient Life with Rosie. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas weekend and Christmas Day with family, friends. I had the luxury of going to the mountains because my birthday was Christmas Eve. Yes, December 24th. I'll be dropping that video this week. I enjoyed myself there and did some great hiking and quiet time. Returned on Christmas in order to cut the birthday cake with my dad and have dinner with him to enjoy Christmas with my dad. And of course, some basketball and football, even though both of my teams lost, hoping for a Christmas miracle in sports, but it's all good. Today, I thought I'll take a break from lessons learned to recap 2023 with you and look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. This year was a good year. I did have one bad. I kept asking myself, Rosie, is there anything else? But I only found one bad thing. And the ugly is not what you think. I will save the ugly for last. First, I will share the bad. Any personal challenge that therapy could help with, therapy can provide tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. There's a link in my description. It's betterhelp.com/theresilientlife. If you are struggling, consider online therapy with our sponsor, BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/theresilientlife. Also, it gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. Again, click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/theresilientlife. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this channel. Now back to our episode. For those who've been following me from the beginning of this year, January started off rough. The first 4 days was the beginning of my dad getting sick. And then the fourth day of January 2023, my dad was diagnosed with pneumonia. And then a couple of weeks later, diagnosed with double pneumonia. And it took him almost 3 months to get back to himself. I say it's bad, not ugly, because during that time, the bad part of it was him being sick, him being very weak, unable to take care of himself, the frustration I saw on his face because he could not take care of himself, that hurt me to the core. The parts that were good was for me to have a better understanding with him and to be very patient with him and to see things from his perspective as a caretaker for him and realize that as much as it was hurting me to see him that way, it hurt him more that he was losing his independence. Also, it was for me to look through his finances and his budget to realize, okay, Dad, you're spending money on things you shouldn't be spending on. We're going to make a cut on that. And to do the health proxy for him, which is to do a do not resuscitate, power of attorney, to have that difficult conversation with him. So in all, it wasn't ugly because there were some good parts of it that needed to be said and done with my dad. And most importantly, he became healthy. He's back to himself again, walking around, no oxygen tank. He's taking his walks and he's laughing and making his infamous jokes that to him are funny, but you just smirk at him because that's just my dad. So that is the only bad of 2023. The good of 2023, my book launch. I dropped my book, Disempower the Disappointment, on December 27, 2022 was when it was first published. If you have not bought the book, please make sure you purchase the book. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. It's on paperback, hard copy, and audio, except on Audible, so you can get it on Nook. And to have my book launch on March 2023, to see everyone come out to support me was amazing. And to see the book reviews on Amazon of people who commented on the book touched my heart, because I was reluctant to share what happened to me because I felt, why write it? Who would care? But to hear people text me and call me and say, wow, I went through something hard myself, and it's good to know that I'm resilient too, and I'm not alone with going through things. And it made me realize that people need a book like that where they feel they're not alone in their hurt and disappointments. And then the second good, well, there was a lot of good this year, but I'm counting my top two, was my vacations with my girls and my solo trip. After the book launch, I needed to get away. The first 4 months of this year with my dad, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And then the book launch, I needed a break. And I took me a nice couple of days away, solo, just to be with God, hear the waves, and just say thank you to God. And then my pre-birthday trip with my sisters and my homegirl was great. The video will be put up on YouTube on Saturday. I'm making sure of that. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please check the link in the bio and subscribe today in order to get the videos of my birthday weekends, the Colombia trip, as well as Tea Time, Truth Time on Saturdays, where I will be sharing part 2 of this conversation. Please remember to subscribe and remember to share with a friend. Remember to join our email list on roadtoresilient.com. And the ugly of 2023. I went 90 days without television. I was listening to Les Brown in the beginning of January, and he said, do something different. Go 90 days without television. And I said, Rosario, that's drastic. Let's do it. And I went 90 days without television. Television in the sense of I did not turn on my television. There was no Netflix. There was no streaming of any kind. The times that I used to watch TV was my time to read a book. Hence how I read over 20 books this year. It was my time to sit more with God and to be more in his presence. And I missed the Super Bowl. If anyone knows me, I love my football, especially the Super Bowl. Even when my team is not in it, I just like the whole camaraderie of it. And to miss it was crazy. And my friends thought I was crazy, but I had a mission, I had a goal, and that's all that mattered to me. Also, with the 90 days, I was ghost. Only one person was in contact with me. I didn't spend time with anyone hardly, and it was just a nice detox of a lot of things that I wanted out of me from 2022. It is my suggestion to you to try something drastic, try something different, which is go 90 days without television. Even social media, you probably need to go 90 days without Instagram. And the second ugly was giving up 4 months of full-time income to start my endeavor as a full-time entrepreneur. In August, I finally made the plunge, even though God told me to stop in July, but I wanted 1 more month of income, and I went full-time as a content creator, going with YouTube, have a coach on that. Also with writing the second book, which I am still writing. Also with developing my speech. I'm going to Toastmasters. I've been doing a lot of growing in the sense of getting out of my box with finally getting onto YouTube, because I had my podcast only on audio, and then I jumped to YouTube in June. I hope for next year to have more of seeing me. I stepped out slowly with that with Tea Time, Truth Time. That is me. In order for me to hopefully do the podcast on Thursdays with me being visual versus using different videos in the background. And I'm glad I made that sacrifice to put 100% of my energy and time into building as a content creator, because when I was doing it with the job, I noticed I didn't have enough energy and I gave 50% versus 100%. It is very, very hard being full-time entrepreneur, but I thank God that he has been providing the whole 4 months because of the savings. And also, as a physician associate, I do consulting. I was able to pick up a consulting gig, and that helped me to take care of my December bills. Grateful to God that he made a way for me as I trusted in him with this endeavor of being a full-time entrepreneur without bringing in full-time income. And by God's grace, my bills have been met every month, and I have not slacked in that. If you missed any of our episodes, remember to check them out today or while you are on break on lunch or driving home. They are binge worthy. So that is my bad, good, and ugly of 2023 on Tea Time, True Time this Saturday, which will be the last podcast of 2023. I will be sharing more about being productive and how to leave 23 in 23, because there's a lot of hoopla of videos already about what to do for 2024 without asking the key questions that I will be sharing with you this Saturday. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Resilient Life with Rosie. Hope you return and bring a friend next week for more. Have a great final days of 2023 and Happy New Year. Stay resilient.